What's up, everybody? So 2024 in the books. I'm going to do my top 24 cards for 2024, as I did last year. But before I get into that, just some general thoughts around baseball. Another heart-wrenching season for my Yankees. Made it to the World Series. Great run. So much fun. Huge MVP season from Aaron Judge, but again, Aaron Judge having a tough playoffs, and Giancarlo being fantastic, and then Juan Soto leaving for the money. That's really what it came down to. If you hear any other reason, I don't believe it for a second. He left. He took the highest bidder, which ended up being the Mets. The Mets bullied them. Cohen clearly showed that he's willing to overpay for what he wants to build for his team. So, and I don't blame him for it. They got to do what they got to do. But now the Yankees, they've recovered nicely with Max Fried and Goldschmidt and Devin Williams, but hopefully more to come. As far as collecting is concerned, I thought it was a great year for collecting. I thought it was a great year in the hobby. It'll probably for 2025 for me, it'll be a lot of what I did in 24, which is buying quality over quantity. I will probably focus on 3 or 4 big pickups, just like I did in 2024, in 2025. Definitely the highlights of 24 for me were the National in Cleveland. Wasn't a huge fan of the venue, but I will say I was a huge fan of the city of Cleveland. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy Cleveland. I ended up going to a Guardians game. Really enjoyed that, and the place that we stayed at was fantastic. Even though they messed up my reservation, that's a whole other story. But I really loved the city of Cleveland. It really, of course, all the hangouts are the best part of the National. And then I picked up that Cobb card, which was a lot of fun. And then, of course, the other big highlight for me in 24 was seeing Chris Sewell and Moynihan and Keating, and seeing the Grail collection in person, and then getting that huge Gaudy Babe Ruth card, which was absolutely just an unbelievable add to my collection. If you would have told 23 Joe that you would pick up a Ruth like that, I'd have been like, yep, nice job. So very happy walking away with that, and huge props to Mike for allowing me to kind of pay him in installments over like a 4-month period to pay off that Babe Ruth. Besides that, it'll probably be a lot of what I did, this year, occasionally picking up a box of packs. If I don't have a ton of money, what I really enjoy doing, and you'll see this in my top 24 cards, is I will, show up to a show with like $400 and buy a bunch of raw vintage cards that I think look really nice for like $20-30 and then get them graded. That's just a fun way of experiencing a show in person. And then was a big fan of 2024 Topps Update. I just want to mention that because I ended up opening up a lot of 24 Topps Update kind of off camera, submitted a lot of Paul Skeens and Jackson Holiday rookies for grading. Jackson Merrill. It's 24 Topps Update is one of my favorite sets in a long time. You got Jackson Merrill, Ellie De La Cruz, you got Paul Skeens, you got Jackson Holiday. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of big names there. Jason Dominguez, which will be an interesting part of that Yankee. Whether they're successful or not, they're gonna have to look to Jason Dominguez in left field there. So anyway, with that being said, that's sort of my thoughts for 24 and into 25. I'm going to flip the camera around and let's go through my top 24 pickups for 2024. All right, so here we go. Number 24. Speaking of 2024 Topps Update, so opened a box and pulled this a 1 of 1. It was the first time I've ever pulled a 1 of 1 besides a one of those printing plates. Hit those at one time, and so this was my first, non-printing plate. So you can see here, Randy Rodriguez, 1/1, and you can see it's his first card. So I thought that was really cool. First card printed, I guess, of Randy Rodriguez. I don't know if there's any San Francisco Giants fans watching, but would love to hear if you guys know anything about this guy. I did look him up real quick. I think he's going to be a middle reliever, hopefully, for the Giants this season. So pretty awesome. Anytime you pull a 1/1. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to grade well, so I didn't get why bother get it graded anyway? It's a 1/1, but it's got that nice little ding in the upper right-hand corner. So I'll just leave it in this nice one touch, and it's just awesome. Anytime you can pull a 1/1, I think that's pretty awesome and should hit your top cards for the year. At number 23 is a card that, my dad gave me for Christmas in 2023, and it was in another holder. I cracked it out, submitted it to SGC, and they came back with Authentic Altered Shad Berry. Beautiful card, T206 of Shad Berry, and there's the back there. Next up is Elston Howard. So again, similar to what I was saying before, is sometimes if I'm not looking to buy a big card, I'll go to a card show. I'll kind of walk the floor, with maybe a couple $100 and find some cards that I think look really crisp. Now, when I do this, I don't always look for centering, which is kind of the opposite of what I usually say to you guys. If I buy a card that's already graded, I usually, the centering and the eye appeal is a big part of, I go for the card, not the grade. Whereas if I'm looking to get a card graded, sometimes I will look for a card that doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but you look at the corners and the edges and the surface, and if it looks clean, it might be a good card to get graded. So this one got a 6.5, which is pretty awesome for a 1957 Topps card. Elston Howard, great Yankee. And then at number 21, now here is the bad part of doing that process, is that sometimes you'll find a card that looks really nice, and you never know. Like this card, it's been, who knows who has owned it over the years. Was purchased, it's obviously a 1957 card, so there could be many different owners of this card. But SGC felt that there was authentic evidence of trimming on this Duke Snider card, but still a beautiful card to add to the collection. All right, at number 20 is going to be a card that I got out of the Rookie Explosion box. The Mookie Betts Update Rookie came back as a PSA 9, and pretty awesome card. Mookie Betts is, talk about incredibly undervalued. This card should be a lot more than it actually is, but was pretty awesome to pull this out of a pack and get it graded. Mookie Betts, one of the best players in baseball. At number 19, this really cool and weird 69 Topps decals, Mickey Mantle. So this was, again, part of that trip. Baseball Collector and Chris Sewell purchased it off of them and got it for super cheap. They gave me like an insane deal on a couple of cards, and of course, I spent a huge amount on a 33 Gowdy Ruth, so they let me buy, I think it was like $100 worth of cards in addition to that, and this was one of the 69 Topps decals. Now, when I bought it, was not graded or anything. It was just this weird thing, and I submitted it to SGC. It looks really nice in the holder, and anytime you can add a Mickey Mantle to the collection, you do it. Next up is going to be I might as well show them both, the Clemente and Mickey Mantle. Again, part of that Grail collection. Both were ungraded. The Clemente came back as a 6, and the Mantle came back as a 3. So I guess this is part of a game back in 1968. So if you threw this card, it would be a single. If you threw this card, it would be a double. And next up is going to be, again, part of that, there's the risk that you take. Although this one I think I screwed up on, because this one didn't come back with any designation. evidence of trimming or anything. I think I actually just submitted on the form by accident, authentic. I don't think this card would grade very well anyway, but I definitely want the grade. Definitely didn't want them to just slab authentic on it. So I don't know. I might crack it out at some point and get it regraded. All right, top 15 cards. So at number 15 is going to be the 73 Topps Babe Ruth. Again, this was a card that I found raw at a show in White Plains, submitted it, and it came back as an 8, which is pretty awesome. You know, if you can get an 8 on a card, you know, a raw card, Babe Ruth, why not? From 1973 to come back as 8s. I have cards, you know, modern cards that I've submitted that have gotten 6s and 7s. So to get a 73 Topps Babe Ruth to come back as an 8, pretty awesome. Number 14, again, I guess I'll keep repeating myself. It's the risk you take. This one came back as authentic evidence of trimming. The 59 Topps Duke Snider. But then I submitted also this, from the same set, the Sparky Anderson rookie, and this came back as an 8.5. So I'll gladly take, one of them coming back as evidence of trimming if I can get an 8.5 on the other one when I'm spending like, I don't know, $30 a piece on these raw vintage cards. So there's the Sparky Anderson. Then what are we at? Number 12, this Yogi Berra. Again, bought this ungraded. 54 Bowman. So super old card of one of the greatest. I mean, Yogi, you talk about like undervalued and underrated in the hobby. I mean, Yogi Berra might be number one. He might be number one. Like 10 World Series championships as a player, he has 13 rings. And he's one of the greatest catchers of all time. I mean, like, he's up there, with the greatest offensive catchers, defensive catchers of all time. And he's, never talked about, the way that, some of the top tier guys are talked about. So, and this is a beautiful card, 54 Bowman, Yogi Berra. And then at number 11 is going to be the Thurman Munson. Again, pick this up through the Grail collection. I think I got it for like $50 maybe. And I told Mike to pick out, there was like 4 or 5 of these in the collection. And I told Mike to pick out the worst one. And this was the one that he picked, and it came back as a 6. So that's just to give you an idea of how impressive this collection was. It wasn't just the cards and that they were all like ungraded, but look at they were so well preserved. I mean, this is a card, again from 1970, and if I owned this card when I was a kid, it would have been in much worse condition. So anyway, so there you have it at number 10 or number 11. And let's get into the top 10 cards of the year. And here we go with number 10, the Johnny Mize. 52 Topps Johnny Mize, a guy that's really underappreciated, Hall of Famer. This was towards like the twilight of his career. Home run hitter, led the league in home runs multiple times. Great first baseman for the New York Yankees, Johnny Mize. At number 9, I opened up a box of Stadium Club and hit this really awesome Adley Rutschman. By the way, Stadium Club is one of my favorite sets. Just the pictures on the cards are fantastic. And pulled this card. There was one guaranteed autograph. And you can see here, the one autograph I hit was an Adley Rutschman auto, numbered to 5. So thought that was pretty awesome. Going yard, Adley Rutschman. Then we have at number 7, this is 8, the Roberto Clemente in an SGC 8. This is Roberto Clemente's final card, the 1973 Topps. Something eerie about this card, and I've always kind of loved it. But 73 Topps Clemente, and again, got this ungraded, and it came back as an 8. So I was very happy about this Clemente. At number 7 is going to be this 57 Topps Yogi Berra. Again, ungraded, and came back as a 7. At number 6, so This will be the first time I ever show a piece of paper as part of a countdown. So my dad purchased this. It looks like November 11th for $480. My Christmas gift, and this is look at this beautiful card. Can't wait to finally get my hands on it. But I guess when he purchased this, he purchased it. He must have sent it to the PSA vault. And then I guess he had an impossible time getting it out of the PSA vault. So thank you, Dad, for getting me this card. But he finally was able to get it out of the vault just a couple of days ago. He got it shipped to him, and he'll give it to me over the next couple of weeks. And really awesome Clyde Angle. And there's the back. So awesome card. I thought he got a great deal on this. $480 for a SGC6. And look at that card. Hopefully in person it looks as good as that. At number 5 is going to be the Jimmie Foxx. This was definitely, of the cards that I got raw, this was the card that I paid the most for and was the biggest gamble, and was very happy when it came back as a 5 on the Jimmie Foxx. Definitely, top 5 pickups of the year. It was a card that I bought raw for, I think, $300. And such a weird picture, like such a weird card. Like he looks like he's got like that baby face in the card. So I've always been kind of like drawn to this just because of how odd it is. 1934-36 Diamond Stars Hall of Famer Jimmie Foxx. Number 4, as you guys know, picked this card up at the National. You got the top 4 cards you guys have seen 100 times over if you watch my channel. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker through this. Beautiful card, Hassan Cigarettes. There is the back with the paper loss. At number 3 for the year is going to be this Rogers Hornsby 33 Gaudy. Again, insanely underrated, possibly the greatest second baseman of all time. If you look at his stats, hit over 400 twice. 33 Gaudy, Rogers Hornsby, and a PSA 6. I've always wanted this card, and I will repeat that I like this image way better than the ugly one where he's pitching or whatever he's doing, and that I hate that picture of him. Definitely prefer this particular card. And then number 2 is the 52 Topps Willie Mays. This is insane that I own this card. I've always wanted this card, the 52 Topps Willie Mays. Good luck picking up a mantle in a PSA 4. The Willie Mays in a PSA 4, a lot more attainable. Very expensive, but a lot more attainable. So this is a beautifully centered, nice image. Clearly, nothing particularly wrong with it. I suppose the edges and corners could be a little bit nicer, but beautiful 52 Topps Willie Mays. And then, of course, at number 1, is going to be the 33 Gaudy Babe Ruth that took me months to purchase. And again, props to Mike for working that deal with me from the Grail collection. So there you have it, guys. That is my recap for 2024. Another fantastic year in the books. Hoping that 2025 treats us all as well as it did in 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. And I guess we'll say goodbye to these. By the way, these were all my honorable mentions, including the Dick Shiner all pickups from 2024. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will talk to you later.